So this is how we're going to do this. I have 4 BSD art and 0 attention span. It's going to go super fast, 3 parts, sketch, lines, paint, no bowl, some bowl. Let's go! Alright, so let's begin. So this is a picture of Fyodor, and all I'm going to say about him for legal reasons is that I like him. I really like him. I really like him. And now my lawyer's telling me to shut up. What else do I want to say about this sketch? Let's get technical. Okay, so I draw things from sketches. I do 2 sketches. Wow. Amazing. Alright, so this one has a little more context to work off of. This one is Draw This in Your Style, hosted by Lotus Pear back in like February. Link in the description if I remember. I really like this one because Draw This in Your Styles, there's not a lot of thinking to be done. Like, it's just the picture except you draw it in your style. This one I started out with a really clear image in my head, and then when I sketched it out, I realized that I don't like SKK at all. So then it took me a long while to revisit this because I got over myself and realized the sketch is pretty banger. 'Tis no secret that lines are my favorite part of the drawing. Shocker, I know. I actually really wonder why people hate lines so much. There's actually some philosophy in making the lines, which is to not keep too many decisions made in your sketch. And what I mean by decisions is like, don't get too attached to any ideas that you've made unless you're really willing to spend time on recreating them. But you know, sometimes we make so many of those really important decisions that we end up trying to keep all of it. And you know, at that point, what's the point of lines anymore? I'm gonna be self-reflective and say that the lines were not the best part of this process. I was really holding out for the painting part of it, trust the process and whatnot. Lining this was a low-key nightmare. Halfway through I realized, wait, I don't actually want to keep all this like a line weight that I decided on. So I did the terrible thing. I never do this, but I started with the eyes. And I'm kind of a filthy liar because I realized that in my past drawing, I probably also started with the face. Anyways, Dazai, I love him so much. A girl at a party barfed in my lap after I told her I really love Dazai. That was the best party of my life. I read some of his IRL counterparts works, and the one that clicked with me the most was his short story, Early Light, just because I'm like, oh, so he is capable of writing about being like a decent father, which is like, you know, his entire not thing, given no longer human, which I think is so funny. And then he comes out with the low-key masterpiece Schoolgirl, where he describes his entire day as being a girl in one like 40-page novel, and I'm like, oh my god. Okay, now we're lightning rounding down back to the SKK, and to be honest, when I told you that I really needed to revisit this, I meant it. Lining this was a goddamn nightmare. I know I said the last one was a nightmare, but this one was a goddamn nightmare, which makes it like a tier up from a nightmare. I don't know how to draw Chuya. I don't like drawing him. I don't like his hat. I don't like his hair. To be honest, that's why SKK lost of a lot of appeal to me, because he's 5'4" and he's a redhead. I'm like, pick a struggle. The only thing that made me come crawling back to this drawing is that I really like the poses that I made, so I'm like, I need to do these some justice, but then I realized he looks a little feminine. He's got feminine little hips, you know? So I had to figure out a way to fix that. You kind of see it. I'm not sure if it's very obvious. So I bet you are wondering, you said 4 arts at the beginning, I only saw 3 sketches, and you'd be right. That's because I already sketched this one out, in ink, on paper. So the inspiration for this one was, you know, just Fyodor in a kimono, that one Mayoi card that everyone went crazy over, except I'm like, I think we could make him cuntier. I think we really could make him a little cuntier. And then so here's my hand at trying that. So he was represented by Kenon, which I'm just gonna call like Guanyin for the purpose of this video because that's the Chinese version that I grew up with, and I thought that was so interesting. I think viewing BSD from like an oriental viewpoint is very important to me. and it's not the kind of experience that I usually get in the fandom, but you know, with every fandom you have to carve out a space for yourself, so it's whatever. So in this sketch I incorporated a lot of symbols that she might have used, including like the lotus. His kimono actually features like a lotus head pattern, and was originally supposed to be stepping on lotuses until I realized I can't draw feet, so I gave him a pipe instead, and that's also one of her symbols. It's a little more obscure, but it's one of them at least. Now we get to the fun part. Yay! It's painting! So for this one's actually the most recent painting I did, and I tried something where I painted the light in first before I blocked in my flat colors. This is something I learned from this one girl that I hung out with a lot, and she goes to art school and everything. I'm not sure if they teach that or whatever. I was certainly never taught that, so it was actually really fun to experiment with. So for this one, I chose the light source as coming from above because I wanted to try out what a spotlight would look like. I actually tried out a couple tests for light on my phone just to see how it would look, and these passed the focus group, so this is what we're rolling with. One of the benefits of drawing digitally is that you have a lot of access to changing your colors whenever, and that's not really something you get with traditional drawing. So this is actually really fun to just play with, like how you want the light to interact with your drawing, like how you want to kind of make minute changes here and there. I keep it very saturated throughout the video because I was still playing with the idea of making this light so bright that it looks like he's covered in white, but like it's not going to be like a true white. So that's the kind of look I was aiming for, but in the end I had to strike a balance between what's realistic and what's appealing and aesthetic, and just what works with the composition. So I painted some apple stuff in his face last minute because I realized, oh shit, I really wasn't keeping this apple motif really well. So yeah, there it is. Woohoo! Design! Historically, I like to pick my own skin tones. I don't really like to color drop anything. This is back when I still like to put in my flats before I put in my color. So here's me just trying to figure out where to put all these colors on. I wanted to keep him kind of bright at first, and then I was like, I don't really have a color plan going on, so I gotta think a hard while. And so in the end I decided I'm not gonna follow Lotus's color plan just because, you know, that's Lotus's style, that's not my style, you know, this is a draw this in your style. So I decided on blue, and at that point I kind of had to cater and change everything to fit that blue. Now, part of why painting is my favorite part of the thought process is because you kind of make or break whether or not you really understand your 3D shapes or not, and I am by no means am a master of doing this, but you know, I'm really trying, my friends. But the painting process is where I personally like to demonstrate that kind of volume I'm aiming for, that depth. I'm not really a portrait painter on a good day, so I struggled a lot on his face, but I felt like it was really important to get it right, to capture all the features that I wanted him to show, to have him be like a little serious, a little coy, kind of flirty, just like he is. Haha. You kind of see me in the background trying out some TikTok hacks for brightening up the face. Yeah, they actually work. It's kind of crazy. Then there's me blending in some parts and softening up my edges. That hurt my feelings a little bit. I actually had a really strong image in my head for the SKK drawing. It was gonna be two of these hooligans in a tunnel, and they were doing illicit things that 15-year-olds shouldn't do, like smoking cigarettes and drinking, and also playing like suicide games. So the lighting for this picture came really easy. Then came the flats, and I was like, oh god, why did Chuya have to wear all black? And I was like, did he have a different outfit that I could give him? No, he's always wearing black. I hate this drawing now. I'm not sorry for the Chuya slander, by the way. I had to give him an outline just to make him pop a little more, because he's 5'4". No more Chuya slander, let's go on to the next one. Was not rocking with the feet, so I cropped it. Yay! Painting is normal here, just blocking in my flats. I hate the color purple. It doesn't go with anything. You know the complementary color of purple is orange? No, it's not. Literally, go ahead and try to style any other color with purple that's not black or white, and tell me how it goes, because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. I can't tell you why. So usually when I sketch, I kind of forget to account for the fact that some people wear patterns on their clothes, and that the majority of clothing in this world has patterns on it. So here's me kind of like remembering at the last minute, oh shit, clothes have patterns on them, and it does make them look prettier. I'm still mad at this fact. Flats usually take me the longest time, so here's me putting in my flats and then cleaning up my flats. It's painful. After the flats, I put in my lighting. The lighting is pretty straightforward, but in these drawings, I kind of figured out that I like putting in my lighting first before I put in my flats, because with the lighting, you kind of control the composition, and then with the flats, you control it further, but colors are a little more non-negotiable than your lighting, I feel, because if you get the colors wrong, everyone notices. If you get the lighting wrong, I don't know, 1 or 2 people will notice, but it's not very jarring. Here's me putting in the final touches. Thank you for sticking through this video, and thank you so much for watching.